Hey, what's up, you guys? Razati out here in Singapore, and thank you so much for joining me on the Night Owl podcast. You guys, thank you. I really, really appreciate the audience that I have, the audience that will be, the audience that's coming eventually. I appreciate all of you, and honestly speaking, the reason I even create this content is not necessarily for all of you guys. It's actually really selfish. It's for me. It's pieces of my life, pieces of inspiration, ideas that have kind of come to me through the cosmos, through music and entertainment and conversations that I feel like I really need to hold on to. It's almost like that I got to put a pin in it moment so that I can come back to it later. So this is part of my process. It's how I process my own feelings. It's how I revisit, past situations. It's how I evaluate what it is that I've learned so far and if it still holds true or not. It's my way of staying relevant. So today I actually really want to talk to you about the fact that I've discovered, or rediscovered for that matter, that being responsible is more than just, paying your bills on time. It's more than keeping your word to people. It's really very, very fundamental. It's one of those essential things that you really need to keep track of. Being responsible is a different level of discipline, at least the way that I'm talking about it. Okay, so here goes. Here's what I'm going to try and explain here. I've realized recently how very important it is for you to be responsible for your actions, your words, your thoughts, your behaviors. And what I mean by responsible, meaning that once you do it, you got to own that you did it. You hear what I'm saying? So the things that you let fly out of your mouth, you got to be held accountable, or be ready to be held accountable for the things that fly out of your mouth. Now, if it didn't come out the way you intended, you have the ability to explain yourself and try and find better words to describe what it is that you were feeling. But if you said something in anger, you got to own the fact that you said it in anger. And at some point, you're going to have to be able to sit down with the person that you threw those words at and be able to explain why you felt that in that moment of anger. Now, was it that you really believe these things to be true, or you're saying things that will, hurt me on purpose, so you did that because you wanted a reaction out of me, you wanted to break me down further or whatever? But at some point, you have to be ready to be held accountable for what you do and what you say and what you feel. Now, I'm not saying that what you feel and what you're doing are wrong. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that once you do it, you got to be ready to defend yourself. Not defend yourself, but you got to be ready to be called out on those things. It's like that universal thing that everyone thinks is true, right? Oh my gosh, it's freedom of speech. I get to say whatever I want. Yes, but that also means that once you let it fly out your mouth, you have the universal right to be wrong in public because you said it out loud. Now, I also know that this is part of the reason why people think that they can gaslight others, right? Because you feel like you can't question that person anymore. You feel like once that thing comes out of their mouth, right, you're so busy trying to regulate for yourself and figure out if what they said is true, if what you're doing is, actually something you're overthinking on your end, that you let them escape with whatever it is that they said. You hear what I'm saying? Like, I see this a lot with people who are under the influence of drugs or alcohol, or people who are very, very angry in the moment because they really want someone else to take some of this, this difficult pain or energy that they're feeling, and they're trying to transfer. So I see it a lot. But even in the moment when you're having an argument, and I do mean argument, not discussion, argument with someone you love, and you're so hell-bent on trying to prove that they are wrong because that means that you're right, that you forget the words that you use. Or maybe it's something where, you're trying really hard to come back from a situation where you feel like you were betrayed. Maybe it's an infidelity. Maybe it's someone that lied to you, and you're trying really hard to figure out what it is that, why would they lie to you? And suddenly all comes this word vomit from this very, very angry place, and you pull up everything they've ever done wrong, everything they've ever said, the way they looked at you sideways, everything comes blurting out of you. Even those are past grievances that you've already settled. So this is why I feel like it's even more important today that I remind you guys and myself that you are responsible for what you say and what you do and how you behave. It's very, very, very important that you know that you are being you should be held responsible. You can be held responsible. And I'm not saying, okay, that should be a fear of yours, now you got to watch what you say, but I'm saying if you're going to say it out your mouth, be ready to explain yourself. Be ready to deepen that conversation and let people know where you're coming from. It's not enough to just be like, you're an asshole, you're a dickhead, I hate you, you are useless and worthless and no good to anybody. And then because the moment has passed, you're no longer angry, you don't give the other person a right to, okay, is this really how you feel about me? Is this something that I need to change, why would you say something like that? If you're going to throw my past at me when you're angry, I need to know if this is something that's always running in your head, or if I need to always be ready for you to pull my past behavior out and use it as arsenal. I've had this conversation with y'all before. I've made podcast episodes about this before. Your past, when you open up to somebody and you let them know your innermost thoughts and your most tender feelings, yes, that is a moment of vulnerability, but it's never, ever, ever meant to be used as, bullets against you. It's never meant to be something that, that the other person, because they know about it, can use it against you. Now, I can see how in a discussion, and I do mean discussion, not argument, discussion meaning that, okay, I agree that this has happened, and you agree that that has happened, and we may not see eye to eye on this, but I want to understand further. That's different, okay? You're coming at it from a place of empathy, not a place of anger or spite. But in those situations, when you bring up something from the past, you're genuinely asking. And once you ask and they have answered, you are meant to assimilate and accept what they've said so that you can move on with your own life as well. But when those things come out in anger, when those things come out in a hurtful manner where you're trying really hard to break down the other person, or maybe you're not, maybe it's just something that's been running in the back of your head, you haven't had a chance to say it, and now that you're angry, you feel vindicated, you feel justified to be able to say those things. Or maybe because you're drunk, you feel bold enough to say those things, right? Liquid courage and all. Once you let it fly out your mouth, once you've done whatever you've done, you need to be ready to be held accountable. That's what I mean by responsibility. I think a lot of people think about responsibility as, oh my God, adulting 101. Oh my God, I have to run my own house. I have to buy my own groceries. I have to cook my own food. I have to wake up at a specific time. I have to get to work on time. I have to show up to work. I have to put out my best work. All of those things. I get it. Yes, that is a version of responsibility. But the one that's more integral to your character, the one that's more important to your development and your progression and your evolution, that comes down to who you are and the kind of person you are. And I think when we are traumatized and we're hurt, we allow so much to happen, and we feel like we're allowed to be rude, crude, and socially unattractive because you've earned that right. You've been through pain here. Hey, give me a break. But that's not the case. That's you passing on the hurt that happened to you. That's hurt people hurting people. Does that make sense? So here I am trying to ask you guys, can you honestly say that you're allowing people to hold you responsible for the things that you're saying and doing and feeling? And if you're not ready for that to happen, are you thinking about consciously making these decisions, or are you reacting? Are you responding to a stimulus, or are you reacting to a stimulus? Because in another episode, we're going to break down discipline, because that's the next thing. If you can control, right? And be conscious of what it is that you're doing, I think it leads the way for a more productive and fulfilling life. It means that you have so much more space to be the person you want to be, or the person you feel like you are inside, so that what you are and who people see you to be is a little more closely aligned. I feel like a lot of us are ruled by our emotions, which is not a bad thing. It just means that your spirit is speaking a little more loudly than normal, right? And you tend to respond or react a lot, and that's okay until you realize that, okay, I do have control in my environment. I am able to do some things that, will shape my life in a better form, that will make me feel happier, more safe, more supported, right? But until you feel that way, you will feel like you're at the mercy of your emotions. So this is, again, why I keep telling people, hey, responsibility is really, really important. It's not enough that you come to me and ask me for help. It's more important that you do something with that help. And then whatever it is that you decide, because let's face it, you can ask for advice from everywhere. You could ask God for advice, and then you're just going to do what you want to do because it is your will. And that's okay. But once you do or exercise your will, you need to be ready to face the consequences, which means you could be held responsible. You could be held accountable. You need to deal with the fact that whatever it is that came out of your mouth has an effect on somebody and has affected people or circumstances or outcomes. This is where you really have to sit down and think about, okay, well, am I manipulating the situation for my outcome, or am I allowing things to happen? Hear what I'm saying? So please pay attention. I'm not saying what you're doing is right or wrong, but whatever it is that you're doing, be ready for the outcome. Be ready for someone to question you on it. And that's okay too. That's their prerogative. It's allowed. It's good. because this will keep you closer to your own integrity. It will keep you honest. It will keep you in tune with what it is that you're doing. You can no longer claim that, oh, I unconsciously did it. I don't know, it was my trauma speaking. I get that. Trauma does speak that way sometimes. Sometimes it is, PTSD. It is a response system. But once you recognize that it's a response system, you can no longer just react. Once you recognize that this is a pattern of yours, you can't just, it's a pattern of mine. Although a lot of people do that, that's not the reason you're aware of it. Once you're aware of it, you're meant to do something about it. If you know you cause pain when you do a specific something, if you know it, it's your responsibility at that point to either cause pain on purpose or change so you don't cause pain. Then it's premeditated almost. Does that make sense? So anyway, these is my 2 cents. This is what I felt at the moment right now, because I feel like I need to be held responsible for my actions and reactions and my words as well. I've had so many conversations of late where people say whatever the hell they want to say, and they don't take into consequence what it is that their words mean to the people around them. And it's not just me, it's the people around me, my clients as well. It's a lot of conversations around people are hurting me on purpose. They know this hurts me, why would they bring it up again? And I get it. So I felt the need to speak about this. It is your responsibility. Your words, your actions, your behavior is your responsibility, which also means that you can't control anybody else. That's their responsibility, but you damn well can control yours. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you. But in the meantime, you guys, take good care and pay attention. You have the ability to notice for a reason. Okay? I love you guys. Bye.